Hello friends, and welcome back to Game 2 of this Best of 3 series here in the winner bracket finals of the Good Play SCA Challenge. We've got Game 2 of MiTH Trust versus Invasion. MiTH up 1-0 in this BO3 series after an impressive display of Morphling action from Lekels. And here we'll get to see more Lekels action with a Naga Siren. First pick from MiTH Trust. And Invasion did grab themselves a nice tanky opener, the Bristleback and the Tide Hunter. And MiTH Trust do retort with a second pick, Elder Titan. Now, some things to note here in this draft. One is that Invasion do love themselves these kind of tanky lineups. They love to do tanky cores mixed with some pushers. That's sort of their signature style. A little bit of Pugna mixed in here and there, some Nature's Prophet, those kind of heroes on top of these really tanky frontliners. And Bristleback Tide is actually kind of a strange opening. You don't see those two heroes too particularly often because they play a pretty similar role. They're both usually slated for the off lane, both usually have an okay time even on the Dire, and they just get those early levels, maybe grab an early mech, grab some utility, and focus on that mid-game fighting. So we'll see how they choose to lane this. It could be the Tide mid with the Bristle in the off lane, could be Bristle in the position 1 with Tide in the off lane. A couple of options for Invasion, and I'm a little bit well, a little bit surprised to see that as an opener, and curious how this will pan out for him. Naga Siren will probably do some work this game. I'm going to go ahead and call it here. That should be the Lekels hero, and it will be Elder Titan in the off lane, and they'll grab the Mirana here. I'm not sure how MiTH Trust like to run their Mirana, but oh, Jesus, Invasion. Oh, picking the Morphling into an Elder Titan. I think this might be a blunder. This might be a boo-boo. Now, Elder Titan is pretty much the counter to Morphling. And the big reason that is because of natural order. And you might be thinking, oh, well, natural order is good against everyone, which is true, but particularly good against Morphling. It reduces 100% of your base armor, not that additional armor that you get from items like Assault Cuirass or Mech. That plus armor is that extra plus. It doesn't get rid of that, but almost all of Morphling's armor comes from agility because he morphs to agility. So that last game where Morphling had like 37 armor, all of that would have been mitigated by natural order. So even if this Morphling gets a huge amount of farm, and in that late game when he's morphed all the way to agility, Elder Titan will make him have virtually 0 armor, and then that's where Elder Titan will just be able to punch him down. And where you can really get dirty is if you want to grab a Shadow Demon here to pair with this Mirana. You can disrupt the Morphling, get the Morphling illusions who have full armor to click down the 0 armor Morphling who is affected by natural order, and that is just... It is absurd. You would not believe that a support Shadow Demon could kill a Morphling that easily. Up there you go. Nailed it. Boom! Looks like I've learned a thing or two over my last few months of casting. I've seen this before, and it is ridiculously powerful. And already, I don't even care about these last picks. MiTH Trust have won this draft. Beautiful drafting, and I am shocked and appalled to see Invasion pick a Morphling into an Elder Titan. That is just a big no-no, and it's one of those counters that's hard to deal with because it's just an aura. As soon as Morphling's affected by the aura, say goodbye to your armor. It's not hard for the Elder Titan to execute. You don't have to land any big spells. You just have to be next to the Morphling in team fights, and sometimes you don't even have to do that. Sometimes the Astral Spirit is enough. So again, we'll see how this works out for good old Invasion here, but I think they're going to have their work cut out for them in this match, as it were. Will be a final pick Rubik for Invasion, so that will be their second support to go with the Lich, get them a little bit of extra crowd control, and not a bad game for a spell seal. Some Arrow and Elder Titan and Naga have some okay abilities. Not bad, not great either. Sort of, I would say, just a standard Rubik game. Not particularly amazing, but certainly not bad by any means.
10 seconds remaining.
Final bans, Enchantress and Dazzle. Oh, Dazzle, interesting choice for MiTH Trust to ban him out. I guess he does pair very nicely with the Bristleback, and he can help to counter the effects of the Elder Titan. So a smart ban, even though there is some synergy. With him, when paired with the Elder Titan, you can totally reduce all of their armor with the Weave on top of the natural order, so he kind of works both ways. And Dazzle does have some decent synergy with the Naga. You can stack up the Weave charges while folks are caught in Song of the Siren, but not a huge deal there. We should, in a moment, see how this Mirana will be run. She'll either be in the position 1 role if the Naga is going to be mid, or she'll be a support with a Shadow Demon with Naga in the position 1 and Dragon Knight in the mid. So there you have it, a hero that MiTH loved to run, and he'll be their mid laner. It will be a support Mirana with the Shadow Demon, and they will be supporting Lakels in probably the safe lane. So, yeah, you know, I hate to sound like running the risk of sounding like a fanboy here, and I assure you I'm not, but I would label this one a MiTH and label this one a MiTH outdraft. And since we're stuck in a pause here, you have to pardon me, sir, because I got to make my Dota map hero size bigger because I can't stand looking at the tiny icons. And I had to reset my Dodo to get my in-game mic working. I do apologize for Game 1. I know we didn't have Dota TV sound. That's kind of my bad. It was a hardware issue for whatever reason. My my mic decided to take a little poopski, and I had to reseat it, do the all unplug, plug back in, and that was the boop 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 sound you heard at the beginning of that first VOD. And well, it messed up the Dota TV audio, and I didn't get a chance to reconnect during that last match. So it is all set now, and will be set for Game 3 should we need it here. And again, this is game number 2. MiTH are up 1-0 over Invasion. This is a best of 3, and it is the winner bracket finals here for the Good Game SEA Invitational. I was calling it the Challenge, but this one is the Invitational. So no elimination on the line here. The loser of this best of 3 will be facing off against the winner of Titan and Arrow Gaming, which I'm not sure when that is scheduled to take. I think that is scheduled to take place tomorrow, about exactly 24 hours from now, and the plan is for Gods and myself to be casting that. So coming to an end here, the final stage of this tournament, but the winner of this will be secured a spot in the best of 5 grand finals. So actually kind of a big series we've got for us here. Thank you for joining us on BTS 2. I know there's a big matchup going on BTS 1 at the moment, being cast by Mott and Base to Kip. So well, thank you for joining us. I am Zyori, solo casting for now. Let's introduce some rosters here on the Radiance side. We've got Team MiTH up 1-0. Mama going to be supporting on the Shadow Demon here. Naki. Oh, the arrow off the mark as they initiate on the Ghost to get things started. That could have been your first blood coming out, but they will whiff the first Disruption arrow combo, and that's a little bit unfortunate here from the 2 Radiant supports, but not the end of the world. They're still showing that tide who's boss. The hero of the hour, Lakel, is going to be on the position 1 Naga Siren, another one of his signature heroes, and I'm sure will give Evasion a run for their money. In the mid lane, it will be MyPro on the Dragon Knight, and in the off lane here, it will be KYT playing on the Elder Titan, going for that Astral Spirit level 1. On the Dire side, we've got Team Invasion, and it will be Snow on the position 1 Bristleback. FZFZ will be supporting him on the support Rubik. Alright, we talked about this. Apparently, this guy's name is pronounced... Oh, no, there's your first blood. Looks like they will connect with the combo this time. Ty gets a double damage, but it costs him everything and anything as the old Fish Eater takes a tumble, and Mawmaw secures that bonus gold. Oh, man, I'm so glad I glanced at the minimap because I was tabbing out to look up how to say this gentleman's name, as I have been saying it wrong. I know, y'all were eager to correct me, and it's not Keswick. It is Ketchik. Is that right? Ketchik. Apparently it means small in Malaysian. Ketchik Imba. On the Morphling here in the mid lane, he will be joined by ADTR on the Lich, and that will put Ghost in the off lane here on the Tidehunter, who is already the unfortunate victim of the first blood. So Ketchik, I'm gonna have to say it a few more times before I get the muscle memory for that. I was saying Keswick last game, and apparently it is Ketchik. Chat, confirm. Can you confirm with proper pronunciation here? Ketchik, please. Please, I need a confirm or deny on my pronunciation. A solid sliding scale. Lickness 1 to 10. How are we sounding here? Appreciate it. So, anyhow, MiTH off to one hell of a start out of the gate. 750 gold, 500 experience going their way. In terms of the laning phase, this is not a good lane for Tide. And because you can do stuff like this, they can just man up on him here. And Tide is generally a solid offlaner. You can get that early point in Kraken Shell, and I'm surprised he doesn't get one here. It might not even be enough to keep him alive, but any kind of Mirana lineup... Ketchik? Oh, it's Ketchik. Alright, well, I'm trying my best here, guys. Cheese and crackers. Anyway, anytime there's Marana arrow set up, though, it's very difficult for Tide. And they are shoving into the tower, so he's at least finding a little bit of experience. The pull camp now will be stacked, and they will start pulling and denying some of this valuable experience to old Kraken Shell Tide Hunter here. But, yeah, going to be rough for him, and he will pretty much be zoned out. He may be forced to retreat and stack the Ancients, which he's already done once. Very nice. And he may be able to do once further here at the turn of the 3rd minute. So that is good. That is one thing Dire Tide can do to recover, and Dire Tide, see what I did there. And of course, once you start hitting points in that Anchor Smash, you can move into the Ancients and kill them yourself. So, quite good. In the top lane here, KYT almost getting manned up upon, and Maw does rotate to try and keep his buddy alive. Actually, Boots first on the Shadow Demons. It looks like he's starting to roam around a little bit. Ghost will rotate mid, and now Ketchik mans up on him, and they will secure the kill onto the Dragon Knight. I like what the Dragon Knight tried to do there, seeing that the Morphling was low, wanted to try and capitalize and turn it around with a Breathe Fire, and one more auto attack, he would have been able to do it. Maw comes in and will chip at the Morphling, and actually the Courier almost taking a tumble here as old Butch comes in. Goes down to half health as the Illusions get a few auto attacks off, but unable to bring him down, so a little bit unfortunate. Would have been very unfortunate for Invasion had that Courier been killed by Shadow Demon Illusions in the mid lane. That would have been the worst of the worst. But the biggest problem I see for Invasion here is the position 1 disparity. We've got Lakel's farming away in the safe lane on the Naga Siren, and we shouldn't be surprised to see that. We'll hold that thought here as, Lich in the mid lane. He'll get dropped. He gets initiated upon by Maw and MyPro, and that's an easy kill on the support Lichy. Shadow Demon picks up that kill. So Shadow Demon actually has both kills on the Radiance side here as we approach the 4th minute. Anyhow, Lakel's in pretty much free farm heaven, as he well should be. An early Quelling Blade, 2 points in the Riptide, very standard, well-rounded stuff coming out of him. And he is our last hit leader, 26-6 compared to the 23-7 Bristleback being played by Snow. Now, of course, a huge disparity between these two heroes. Naga Siren, your ultimate late-game carry. Bristleback, kind of the polar opposite. He falls off pretty hard in the late game, and he really peaks in that mid-game. Between, like, levels 7 and 15, maybe something like that, is when Bristle is really at his strongest. Get those points in Bristleback. He maybe gets an early Vanguard, a mech, and he is one tanky mother. Maybe he'll get a pipe, and he'll just have that well-rounded, what I like to call the trifecta. You've got your damage reduction, your magic armor, and your regular armor there. And he's damn tanky, but he hits this point where he kind of falls off, and that means that Invasion will have to hit this kind of mid-game timing, I think, where this Bristleback is doing some serious work, and the Naga hasn't really come quite online yet. They will dive the Elder Titan up top, stacking up that viscous nasal goo. They will be able to bring him down, but Snow may pay the ultimate price. No, he actually drops aggro on the tower, and he'll survive. So nicely played in the top lane. Invasion do secure a kill onto the off laner, and Bristle will gain a little bit of momentum. He was actually the one who grabbed the last hit for that kill. And they will have this Morphling as well, who will start to come online, but as a Morphling, I don't know that I'd really want to go late against a Naga Siren with an Elder Titan on his team, with all of this other damage as well. Dragon Knight will play a great secondary carry, especially by the time Lakel's is really getting strong with 3 or 4 items under his belt after the Radiance. MiTH Trust have the obvious late game advantage here. 2 cores versus the single of the Morphling, and they just have more utility. Better setup for the stuns. You've got Arrow, Dragon Tail, Earth Splitter, just all around better team fight, more damage, and the ultimate counter, the natural order to the Morphling. So to me that says Evasion, I keep saying evasion. It's invasion. They're invading, not evading spells. Oh, Jesus. Invasion, dude. I don't know what it is. I just can't pronounce stuff on the Dire side. I don't know what's going on with this poor team. My apologies, Invasion. I didn't mean to slander your good name. But to me, that means they need to hit some sort of a mid-game stride, and whether that comes in team fighting, which they do have the Ravage, so they do have some team fight prowess here. They don't really have much minus armor to synergize with the Bristle, which is kind of unfortunate. But I don't know. They need to hit that mid-game stride, though, because you don't want to go late, and that means you got to end the game sooner rather than later and maybe do some crippling damage. The other problem I see is they don't have a lot of pushing power. And generally speaking, it's hard to end a game quickly if you don't have any kind of a dedicated pusher. No Nature's Prophet, no Pugna. It's actually MiTH Trust that have the little bit of pushing power with that Corrosive Breath on the Dragon Knight. And speak of the devil in the mid lane, Arrow will fly through it, will connect onto the Lich. Dragon Tail and Breathe Fire. They can bring him down with spells. They don't even need an auto attack for that. Now MiTH Trust will press forward and try and chip at this tier 1 tower. Down bottom, Lakel's gets initiated upon, but he's got himself a Song of the Siren, and he'll just walk back to safety. So tier 1 tower in the mid gets chipped down. MyPro using that corrosive breath, and this is that pushing power I was talking about. We'll have plenty of time left on this Elder Dragon form. Grabs himself a regeneration rune. They will clear out this creep wave, and they could even dive Keshik here. Kashik. Soul Catcher comes out as he does get disrupted. Rotation coming in from FCFC. Maw in some trouble. A few more auto attacks ought to bring him down. It's actually the Fade Bolt that secures the kill as the rest of the team chips at this tier 1 tower. Lich comes in, throws some ice armor up on the tower, and that will help repel the push. And yeah, MiTH Trust will be forced back. So more than half damage out of the tower. Pretty nicely done. The corrosive dot is just ridiculous. 100 damage over time. Don't underestimate the power of the Dragonite. What is this cosmetic here? Dragonite, it looks ridiculous. Look at his face. He looks like he's got a predator mask on. It's like a human dragon predator hybrid. I don't know what's going on with that. Down in the bottom lane, support duo looking okay. Support Mirana, very standard build here. The 032 at level, or 021 at level 3, the 022 at level 4. Oh, mid lane, MyPro maybe in some trouble. Nope, they'll let him get away. Only one stack of the Viscous Goo. Slow is not particularly potent, and he will be able to walk back to the tower. Though double damage rune will get picked up by the Bristleback. It looks like he will be rushing a mech, has the headdress and the buckler complete. Double damage does come out onto the Morphling. How's Kashik doing? Has himself power treads and a Ring of Aquila. So off to an okay start. Perhaps we can take a look at net worths here and see how everyone's looking. Morphling is #1 on net worth, which is a little bit surprising. I would have thought Naga would be slightly higher. She has 7 CS up on him, but Morphling is 0, 0, and 2, and Naga is 0, 0, and 0. So I guess that's where the disparity is coming in. There will be initiation onto the Lich. Long-range arrow flying through, and it will be off the mark once again. MiTH Trust don't seem very well practiced with this combo. I think they've missed more arrow disruptions than they've hit, but still quite the potent duo, and you don't have to land every single one, though. I think that would have been a kill on the Lich. They got him down to about half health without hitting the arrow or any auto attacks from Mirana, so the arrow would have been a nice 200 damage or so, or I guess 150 as it were, but a small missed opportunity, not the end of the world. Lakells will do this kind of hybrid Naga build that I know he likes to go for, going for the Drum of Endurance rather than just rushing the fast Relic. And usually it is just Brown Boots into Drum, so not anything too crazy. Doesn't really mean that he'll be participating in fights. If it was any other Naga, I'd say, oh, okay, maybe this is that like Power Tread, Drum of Endurance, build up, maybe get a couple of hero kills and then go into Relic. He should be pulling up straight into that Radiance now and uses it just to get a little bit of extra mana so that you can farm a little bit more effectively and spam that Riptide a bit more often. And of course, it does give you some extra hit points as well. This time they'll be on the point with the Arrow Disruption combo, but right away, Ghost is there, Kraken Shell coming in handy, pops the Ravage, and makes the escape. So good effort from MiTH Trust. They do force out the Ravage, which is something. Now it means Invasion won't have that teamfight potential for this upcoming skirmish as they do rotate a few heroes down. And honestly, I don't think Invasion really want to fight this. There's still a Song of the Siren up, and they don't have a Ravage of their own. So that gives MiTH Trust the reset tool, and of course there are arrows they can use to set up here. Song of the Siren flies, and they will take it off. Arrow connects. They've got some natural order down here as well. Easy kill on the Bristleback. And that's just a freebie on the position 1. Exactly what I was worried about from Invasion. If they had a Ravage, that might have been a different story. They probably could have turned that around and at least turned that into a team fight rather than just a feed on their Bristleback. But yeah, not the way you want to handle that. And who got that kill? Did Naga end up getting the last hit? Yeah, she sure did. So Lakells grabbing some bonus gold here, and now sitting level 8, 1400 gold up on him, and well on his way to a decently timed Relic. That did create some space for the Morphling in the mid lane, though. We can't forget about old Kashik, or yeah, Kashik here. 1900 gold up on him. Could be going for a Hand of MiTH, but did go Power Treads into the Aquila. So if he wanted a MiTH, I reckon he probably would have picked it up by now. Could be pulling up for Lincoln's, could go straight BKB, or could just go straight shotgun. A couple of options up for this Morphling, and we'll see where he wants to go. I'm not sure how Invasion like to run their Morph. Tier 1 tower in the mid lane does take some decent damage. Elder Dragon form was used not too long ago, but they will repel the push, and first tower to fall will be denied from Invasion. Snow does secure the last hit on that one, so well played, as they do stop some of that momentum. Come in the way of MiTH, and of course preventing that Naga from getting any extra undue gold. Oh, Maw hanging out in the trees, could get scouted out. Does actually ping out Ghost, so it looks like the Dragonite will rotate his way down. And they could try and set something up here. He is smoked up in the jungle, but Snow and ADTR rotating their way over as well. Dragon Knight, Elder Dragon form pop, Dragon Tail out onto Rubik. That'll leave most of his mana pool. Ghost comes in. No Ravage available here for 20 seconds. So MiPro, okay, does have a lot of armor. Will get a defensive disruption, but 4 heroes from the Dire starting to rotate through. He will get healed up as he pops those wand charges. Is there any more support coming? MiPro slowed into oblivion, and they will be able to bring him down. The viscous nasal goo, too much for him to handle, and now they will dive Maw Maw. He's looking to TP out. Blind Ravage could fly up in 2 seconds. Is Tide going to throw it? Nope, he'll save it for now as the Shadow Demon does survive. So unfortunate for the Dragon Knight, no support came his way, and he does take a tumble. Lakel's not interested in fighting right now. He just wants to farm up for that relic. No Song of the Siren. So anytime he doesn't have a song, they really don't want to take a fight. Kashik does find some space up top, secures the kill on the tier 1 tower, does grab his Perseverance. It looks like he will be going for that Lincoln's First. Pretty standard stuff out of him. TP down bottom from the Dragon Knight, and now MiTH Trust are ready to fight. Still without a Naga Siren, but Ghost will take an arrow. Does have Kraken Shell as well as a Ravage. And maybe he'll pop it here. Yep, they use it on the Mirana. And Bristleback will secure that kill. Another 1-for-0 exchange. Earth Splitter flies through, and I don't think it connects on anything. So MiTH Trust concede a couple of unfortunate deaths and lose a tower out of it. So this whole time, this trade was great for invasion. Kashik is now rotated towards the mid lane, finding more free farm and pressuring this tower quite hard as well. Naga Siren trying to do the same. Heads up top, but will be repelled by Snow. And just TPs out and goes straight towards the mid lane. Knows Bristle has no way to interrupt him. And Lakel's just looking for that Radiance. So Invasion handling themselves very well with this Morphling, utilizing that earlier potential that he has with that replicate and movement around the map, and sort of capitalizing in this window where Naga can't really do a hell of a lot. Lakel's is just trying to find space to farm, and when he has a Song of the Siren, he can kind of contribute, help set up arrows and interrupt TPs, set up initiations, but end of the day, he is not doing much damage and just looking for space to grab those last hits. 2,700 gold up on him, so still well on his way for a timely relic, but needs a little bit more room to continue farming. Now Moonlight Shadow from MiTH Trust. They'll rotate down bottom, looking for an initiation. They know the Ravage is down, and this is what they're looking for. Elder Dragon form popped. Dragon Tail will be used onto Ghost, and he is just going to get chopped down. Breathe Fire enough to finish him off. The Demonic Purge out on FZ, but they won't be able to bring him down. No. Oh, there was an arrow by Naki. Okay, I just didn't see it. A little bit of tunnel vision from your caster here. But Arcane Boots now up on the Mirana, and they will be happy with just a singleton kill on the old Tide Hunter. Looks like they may be gearing up for some tower pressure here. No regenerative properties on the towers, but the Ice Armor from Lich does slow down these pushes a little bit. MiPro does have that corrosive dot, just chipping away at the tower. 20 DPS per second. That was unnecessary. 20 DPS for 5 seconds. That's 100 damage. It's redonkulous. Lakel secures a deny on the tier 1 tower mid. Arrow connects onto Kashik. He'll start morphing strength, and he might be able to survive the onslaught here. No Starstorm available from the Mirana, and he will TP home, but they do secure the tower deny, so still a small victory there for MiTH Trust in the mid. Did cost him a Song of the Siren, but still well played.
Radiance top tower is under attack.
And now Invasion going for a bit of a counter push here in the bottom. Again, they know Song of the Siren is down, and that's most of the MiTH Trust defensive properties on cooldown. 3,400 gold on the Naga, and it is actually a 4-hero rotation. MiTH with 3 ready to defend. We did see that arrow pass through, almost catching one, but was off the mark. Elder Titan does have that first point in Echo Stomp now. Only 3 points in the natural order. He is doing a slightly atypical build, but I like it. Usually that 0-4-4-0 is the common build, but it does cripple some of that early power of the Elder Titan. So here he does have a point in Echo Stomp, as well as a point in Earth Splitter, sitting level 9. Well on his way to the mech, about halfway to the recipe. And we'll zoom out here and take a look at the positioning as Invasion. They do have control of the opposite side of the tree line, but there is a Radiant ward down, so MiTH know exactly what's going on. Arrow flies through, actually does connect onto Ghost. Snow in the front lines, he'll get stunned up. Here's your Chain Frost flying through. They do finish off the Tide Hunter with a nice Earth Splitter. Beautiful Delta Split, only 1 bounce on the Chain Frost. It's a 1-for-0 so far, but Snow in trouble. He will run through the tower. MiPro has a Dragon Tail coming up. If he can catch him, can he close the gap? This will be a dead Bristleback, and there you go. Mirana hops forward, down goes the Bristle. And no, pardon me, down goes the Rubik. Bristle falls shortly after. It'll be a triple kill coming out for the Elder Titan. He punches them down with that anvil, and it is just a disaster for Invasion down here in the bottom lane. The tower gets defended, and now they should lose a tier 1 tower. Kashik up top, chipping this tier 1 tower pretty hard. The Kells comes in. He does have a relic, doing a lot of damage to the Morphling. Will force him to waveform TP out, and does completely repel his push. Create some space for his team, and they get that tier 1 tower. So now MiTH Trust looking to be in great shape. Glancing at the graph, they will make a pretty big dent. Invasion leading by about 3,000 gold now all of a sudden. Well, still a 2,000 gold lead, but MiTH Trust gaining a lot of momentum here. This is where the Kells will start to get a little bit scary. Relic halfway to the Radiance, and we're looking at probably 18 and a half, 19 minutes, somewhere abouts, where the Radiance will get delivered. And it's a pretty damn good timing. Given that he went the drums first, that is pretty solid. And one of the things that irks me about this Naga build is you'll see, like, I think Black did it last, where he went this Naga build, and it delays your Radiance a fair bit. And that means you really need to do something with the drums. And you see one of the charges has already been used. I like that coming out from the Naga. It means Lakells has at least been somewhat active. He's found an opportunity to give his team a little bit of a boost, chase someone down, and he hasn't been completely passive. He's at least been involved in defending towers, securing denies, and using that ultimate. We will see initiation here as the Purge comes out onto the Lich. He'll take some poison as well, but the follow-up won't be there. And unfortunately for the Radiant, they will lose one of their wards as some sentries come down. Naga is getting out-farmed by the Morphling for now, about a 1,500 gold disparity there. Morphling with about a 30 CS advantage. But once the Radiance comes out, you should expect that to change. I think Lakells will start to pull ahead and find more farm around the map, even though Morphling has been very efficient. Does have his Lincoln Sphere complete now at the 12-minute mark. And why did I say 12-minute mark? 1,200 gold at the 18-minute mark. Oh man, too many numbers. We'll hold that thought as MyPro gets initiated upon. Nice Ravage from Ghost. Will secure this kill onto the Dragon Knight. No, Song of the Siren. Met comes out, and they will be able to reset this fight. Earth Splitter onto 3, onto 4, make it. Oh, it's a disaster for Invasion. Chain Frost flies through, but it only does so much. They lose their Lich at first. And where's the rest of this fight going to break out? Can they find any more kills? Kashik now joining the party, doing a lot of damage to the Elder Titan. Waveform forward, will finish him off. His Lincolns gets popped. Now MyPro trying to bring him down. Disruption comes, and even though it was a beautiful Earth Splitter, they still only bring down the Lich. MyPro falls, and it's a 1-for-2 the other way. Invasion actually come out ahead in the fight, losing only their Lich. They take a lot of damage, but MiTH Trust just can't focus them down. They don't have the damage quite yet. They're not in fighting form. 200 gold until the Radiance, and they need that Radiance burn. They need all the damage they can find. Invasion capitalizing on this window, though. Long range arrow flies through, hits one of the creeps. So total tower count now is 4-2 in favor of the Dire. They've lost 2 of their tier 1s and have taken out the top and the mid, both of the towers, and the bottom lane is one that's been left basically untouched. They're doing a great job pressuring hard before Lakells comes online, and I was talking just earlier in this game about how Invasion has to do some crippling damage here in the mid game, and probably that 30-minute mark or so is that good rule of thumb for when that Naga will really start to be scary, and before that bristle starts to fall off a fair bit. So they've done a good job. They've been taking team fights and mitigating their losses, split pushing wherever they can, and they've been doing well, but have they done enough? And I would say the answer to that is no. They have a sizable lead, over 5,000 gold, about 3,000 experience, but not insurmountable. Certainly not for a Naga Siren, and this is still comebackable for MiTH Trust. We've seen Lakells turtle up and farm, and turn back bigger deficits than this, so do not count MiTH Trust out of this game quite yet, folks. If Invasion cannot secure barracks by 30 minutes, that's going to be your good benchmark to tell how is the momentum in this game shifting. And if by 30 minutes they haven't secured a single lane of racks, that probably means Lakells is starting to make a recovery and well on his way to really starting to carry this game. So, alright, 19.5 minutes, Radiance is out. Naga is level 12, so does have the level 2 Song of the Siren. That is also half the battle, even just hitting level 16 and getting that Song of the Siren on a 1-minute cooldown. That makes pushing so difficult, and that's part of that 30-minute benchmark as well. You can't just slow siege the towers down, because every minute Naga's going to be there with the Song of the Siren reset. You're going to be getting hit by Earth Splitter and big setup for everything else, and Arrow, and everything else under the sun. Invasion, 5-hero rotation down towards the bottom lane. MiTH Trust will have a 4-hero rotation up top. And it looks like they will possibly trade tier 1 for tier 1. Tower falls, and they will be able to TP home if they're so inclined to defend this tier 2. They will lose their tier 1 down bottom. Elder Titan is already positioned to try and make a defense 4th point in Natural Order and does have that 2nd point in the Earth Splitter here. So we'll be able to make a bit of a defense. Dire's top tower will start taking some chip damage. Still plenty of time left on the Elder Dragon's form. So that Corrosive Breath continuing to return dividends here. Looks like MiTH Trust will actually have the tower pushing advantage. Naga taking out the Dire jungle as well. Song the Siren is up, so MiTH Trust will be able to TP back. Lakel's turns it on and will come back for the setup. Here we go. Catches Snow as well as Kashyyyk. Earth Splitter coming through, no arrow. Earth Splitter will not connect with anything. Ghost comes through, Ravage is enough to secure the kill onto Mama. Now Elder Titan falls as well. It's a disaster for MiTH Trust, a 3-0 triple kill for Kashyyyk. And not the defense MiTH Trust were looking to make there. Naga Siren will slither away. They didn't even get the tier 2 tower in the top lane. It will go into deny range here perhaps as the creeps chip away at it. And they will most certainly lose their tier 2 in the bottom. Just sloppy for MiTH Trust. Lakel's came in with the Song of the Siren on. Okay setup, but he did it like right here. He was in vision of the tower, so Invasion saw it. They knew exactly what was coming. They backed out, and they were just simply ready for it. Only 2 of their heroes got caught by the sleep. As soon as Naga committed and turned it off, Tide was right there for a blink Ravage. And we talked last game, when you go mech on Tide, it slows down your blink dagger timing. And if he had done it this game, he wouldn't have had a blink dagger and wouldn't have been able to have that massive setup right there. Naga might be able to find a free kill in the top lane as she does find the Lich. Radiance Burn doing some serious work. Not enough mana for an ensnare, but will connect with the Riptide, and there you go. Easier kill for Lakel's as he grabs his Boots of Travel, gets that movement speed going on, and now you'll see that farm start to skyrocket. MiTH Trust will have to avoid taking these bad exchanges, though. And now that they've lost all of their outer towers, it's nothing but high ground. Roshan falls, Invasion doing a great job here, hanging on their momentum, continuing to find map objectives. 23 minutes in, keeping the pressure on, and rubbing salt into that wound. Now a 10,000 gold lead, 7,500 experience lead for the Dire side. Sanj and Yasha picked up by the Bristleback.
Dire's top tower has been denied.
And yep, he's starting to be in pretty good shape. Shotgun up for Kashyyyk as well. Has himself the Ethereal Blade, and we'll see it here on the Elder Titan. Not your ideal target. Elder Titan known for his tankiness, and also with a mech, he'll just be able to pull himself back up to acceptable level of hit points. And he'll be just fine. Uh-oh, Maw Maw gets initiated upon by Snow. Takes a viscous nasal goo to the face, but Maw Maw will not pursue, given he doesn't have eyes on most of MiTH Trust. So MiTH Trust will just be looking to keep this a little more passive. Let's take a look at Vision. They do have a couple key observers down, one in their entrance into the Radiant jungle and one in the middle of the Dire jungle. So all things equal, they can possibly move some illusions up there, and actually Lakel's will find a place to farm reasonably safe. Meanwhile, in the Radiant jungle, though, MyPro getting clicked down, pops his BKB, Courier flying overhead, and that will be a dead Courier. That's just a Courier feed right there. I'm not sure what that was all about. Rather unfortunate for MiTH Trust, but Invasion will find a little gold pick-me-up. They force out the 10-second BKB on the Dragonite as well, which is a decent victory, more in the context of this push. So this is another 50 seconds that DK won't have any magic immunity. Evasion know this, and they will press forward with a Ravage ready to rock and roll. Long-range arrow will hit Ghost to try and slow him down. Lakel's in the top. He will press forward, does have himself Boots of Travel, 2,000 gold. So maybe he'll go for some tier 3 damage exchanging. Whoa. He'll get a kill on the Dragonite as Kashyyyk just presses forward. Glyph comes out right away. Naga will TP home, just illusions up top. Naki now taking a shotgun, but Morphling won't grab the kill and will have to hop back to his replicate. About half damage down on this tower. Lakel's in the front lines, does have a Song of the Siren ready, but they know Ravage is online. Hasn't been used yet. Tier 3 tower will fall. There's your Song of the Siren. Maybe a little bit late, but Earth Splitter comes out. Will connect on at least 3. No, there you go. Procs the Aegis onto the Morphling. Ghost comes in with the Ravage. Connects on 2. Lakel's in trouble. Lakel's to fall. He instantly buys back. Now the arrow flies through. Connects onto the Elder Titan. Stolen from the Rubik. Barracks will be free game. Melee getting clicked down pretty damn fast. But MiTH Trust here to make the defense. Kashyyyk will fall. Shadow Demon's able to finish him off. That's the power of the Natural Order. Mega Streak ended, and now they'll press forward. Snow in the front lines taking a lot of damage. Chain Frost bouncing around with the creeps. Can they clean this up? No, the Chain Frost actually doing crippling damage here. Secures a kill onto the Elder Titan. Invasion all very low health. Ghost will fall off to the side, and they will get a kill on the Rubik. Now Snow and ADTR on the run. Lakel's looking for the ensnare, does get fonged, but has the BOT, should have a pretty good movement speed advantage here. Yep, just a little bit over Snow. Stun out on a Lich, he won't be TPing home, and oh, great fog!
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
The Bristleback does make it out, but still a 4 for basically 3 exchange. They were able to shotgun down the Dragon Knight before that fight started. There was a buyback on Lakel's, and they killed the Elder Titan. So Invasion get cleaned up, but it didn't come for free. They get a tier 3 tower, they get the melee racks, and they force a buyback onto Lakel's. So yes, he completes his Yasha, has his initial farming tools, but that's pretty decent damage pre-30 minutes. 27 minutes into the game, you've got the melee racks in one lane. Nothing stopping Invasion from doing that again. Though, of course, they also had the Aegis, and that was instrumental in their success in that fight. Kashik got completely shut down. I think he may be well advised to invest in some additional armor items here. He has 26 armor, but don't forget that's coming from the agility gain. And Elder Titan just completely mitigates that. You need some sort of extra armor here. Sure, they have a mech, and he has the Aquila, so when he is with the Bristleback, he'll be up to 8 armor or so. But may want to change that that item trajectory a little bit here, and instead of going into the Manta or the Scotty with raw stats, grab something with some armor, maybe even just an Assault Cuirass. It sounds a little bit silly, but get yourself some additional armor just so that you can survive in that minus armor. Not bad on Morphling, and oh no, Kashik in some trouble here. Song of the Siren to set up, arrow to fly, will connect, Earth Splitter flies through, easy kill on the Morphling, and the Elder Titan will get that one again. The Natural Order doing some serious work, and Invasion were looking good in this game, but now MiTH regaining some momentum, starting to look like they could possibly turn things around. Still a huge gold lead. I don't want to say insurmountable, as there are still a couple of outer towers standing. The total tower count is 7 to 4. So once those money bags go down, things will look a little bit more even on the gold graph. And of course, Naga Siren will slowly start to close this deficit between her and the Morphling on the net worth. Another 2,000 gold up on the Naga already. Goes to the Ravage available, pops forward, connects onto 2. The supports will get chopped down. Lich with a double kill as the Chain Frost bounces all over the place. It will hit Lakel's, but he will be able to slither back to safety. He'll try and TP home here. Any kind of interrupt? Nope, Tide won't have it. And Rubik not in position to grab a telekinesis on cooldown anyhow. And that's part of the problem here for the Invasion lineup. We talked about it at the draft. They just don't have a lot of interrupt. You've got telekinesis, and you've got Ravage. That's about it, as well as the Adaptive Strike, but Morphling was dead for that in the context of that little skirmish there. Naga just TPs out with the BOTs and goes right back to farming down in the bottom lane. So things starting to shape up decently for MiTH Trust. Let's take a look at item progression, see what everyone's working on here. Dragon Knight has himself just the BKB for now, nothing else past that, about 1,600 gold up on him. So his farm not particularly impressive this game, did struggle a little bit in the mid lane. Looks like Mirana going for a little bit of a different item build here. It looks like he was going for a drum, but now it appears Diffusal will be his item of choice. Could also be a drum into, like, I don't know, just a Yasha or something, but Diffusal, he can use it to purge off the shotgun from the Morphling. So not a bad item if he can pick it up, can possibly keep him or one of his teammates alive if he can use it fast enough. So an interesting choice, but see how it works out for him here. You do see some pretty natural synergy if some Ghost Scepters come out for evasion. Outside of that, to try and deal with the Naga, maybe not typical, but in the late game is a possibility, and of course you can use the Diffusal to cleanse that as well. Naga now with a Manta complete. Lakel's one step closer to being that scary carry. 1,800 hit points up on him now, and hitting for just about 200 per auto attack. At this point, you're looking at probably a Heart of Trask coming out next. Just want to beef up those illusions so they get that raw HP, and then after that move into the evasion. Maybe just the casual Talisman of Evasion, and of course into the Butterfly eventually here. Lakel's maybe taking a shotgun, takes the E-Blade, but Moonlight Shadow as well as Song of the Siren used, and he'll just TP back to safety. Kashik won't be able to secure a kill there. Uses the waveform to clean up the illusions. So well worth the cooldown here for Naga Siren. That's again what I was talking about. 30-minute mark a bit earlier. Naga will hit level 16. That minute Song of the Siren, he just basically becomes ungankable. The chances of you finding Naga in an exposed situation in back-to-back minutes is just highly unlikely. Kashik down bottom will grab the melee. No, that was range racks that were still standing. as he does utilize the replicate. Very cheeky plays there, and will finish off the racks in this bottom lane, but nothing crippling. Just the range racks is nothing insurmountable at this point. Naga Siren will have the ultimate up in 15 seconds as Invasion will make a push for the top lane. Shiva's Guard now up on the Bristleback, Blink Dagger on the Rubik, and there is a gem up on the Lich here, so Moonlight Shadow will be a little bit less scary. The Morphling won't take heed to my advice, just grabs another ultimate orb, so it could be Manta, could be Scotty. Long range arrow will hit the Dragon Knight. A 5-second stun to get things started. Lakels throws out the ultimate to open up this fight. Earth Splitter will hit Kashik, and look at all that minus armor. Ravage comes through, but the Morphling still falls. Chain Frost coming from the Lich. The Elder Titan has already gone down. Lakels will be alive for now, but it looks like he may take a tumble. Defensive Disruption buys him some time. MyPro coming in. They will stun up Snow, but it won't be enough to keep the Naga alive. It's a 1-for-2. Morphling is fought back. Will BOT into the creep wave here, and he's right back up. Throws out a shotgun onto MyPro, but for now, MiTH Trust are holding. Double buybacks from them as well. Naga as well as the Elder Titan are back onto the field, and that will be enough to repel Invasion. This push rendered unsuccessful. Lakels with a long range ensnare. That's a sniper rifle net if I've ever seen one. Get your net cannons ready. FZFZ does survive as he hops back to safety with his Force Staff, and the telekinesis buys him the valuable time he needs. So Invasion still get a pretty effective exchange. They burn 1 buyback, MiTH Trust burn 2, but they do no damage to the tier 3. Great initiation from MiTH Trust. They take the fight outside of the base, and it's an easy hold. They don't even take any damage on their extra structures in the bottom lane. Lakels was utilizing some illusions down there in the bottom, so overall, MiTH Trust handling themselves very well under the pressure. And again, this Morphling just getting completely chopped down. Usually Morphling's power, amongst other things, is his tankiness with that armor. He would normally have 66 damage reduction from physical, and instead he's got like maybe 20 with his baseline of armor. Down bottom, MyPro almost getting chipped down by the Morphling, but he will hop to a replicate. They are smoked up on the high ground outside of the Roche pit. Invasion have invaded the pit. Yup. Viscous Nasal Goo as well as the Gush make Roche pretty easy. A lot of minus armor to slowly but surely trick him down. Moonlight Shadow used. Again, Lich is hanging onto a gem, so they won't be able to be too sneaky with this Moonlight Shadow. They need to be careful, though. Both sides actually need to be careful here. Their 2 position 1s have their buybacks on cooldown, the Morphling and the Naga, but MiTH Trust, they won't commit for it. Just their presence will be enough to repel Evasion, at least for now. Lakels is farming well, though, closing the gap between him and Morphling. It was up to about 4, almost 5,000 gold not that long ago. Now only about a 2,000 gold gap between them. Level 19 on the Naga Siren. Hasn't picked up anything else since the Manta. Did have to burn that last bit of gold on buyback, but again, Hearted Tarrasque probably his next item of choice. How's Tide looking? On his way to a refresher, has the Oblivion Staff, but still a little way off the mark. Arrow flies through, will hit onto FCFC. He does have Riptide stolen right now. Shadow Poison scouting through. They'll see Roche down to about half health, and MiTH Trust can certainly make a contest here. They have a Song of the Siren to set it up. Lakels will do just that. Goes forward, they do ping out Kashik. They find him, and he's already low. Earth Splitter comes through, and just no armor for you. They'll completely drop him. Ravage comes in, but it could be too little too late. Elder Dragon form and BKB pop. Now KYT, next target of choice. He will go down. It's a 1-for-1 trade here. But now Ghost gets stunned up by MyPro. Snow coming in. As long as Naga Siren survives this, MiTH Trust should be just fine. Remember, Morphling caught without a buyback here. This is huge for MiTH. Lakels just pressing forward, trying to burn them down with the Radiance. They need another stun to secure these kills. The Lich is the value target here. He's still holding the gem, so even though it's just a support, he is the big target they want to take down. 1-for-2 at the end of the day. Morphling just gets obliterated to start off the fight, and they'll move into a Roche. Already down to half health. Naga Siren burning him down with the illusions, keeping this Lich completely repelled. Look how much damage he does to the Lich just with illusions alone. They really want to try to contest. Ghost will buy back here, but he doesn't have a Ravage, so only so much he'll be able to do. Snow may move into the pit for an Aegis snipe, but Lakels pops the Song of the Siren. We'll be able to just chop down Roche, and such a smart use of that ultimate. So smart right there. They secure the Aegis and the last hit on Roche, and total wasted buyback from Tide. Nothing he'll be able to do with it. Morphling down for another 15 seconds. Shivas comes out, connects on nothing. MiTH make the great escape. They do take a little bit damage to their base as their buildings do get chopped down. The bottom lane of racks, well, push in just a little bit, but end of the day, MiTH Trust find a huge trade, and now Naga only 1k short of catching the net worth of that Morphling, who was so massive just moments ago in this game. All of a sudden, 2,200 gold up on the Aegis Naga, and even this Dragonite getting a little bit more scary here. Well on his way to an Assault Cuirass. We'll just need basically the recipe at this point. Has enough for the Chainmail as well as the Hyperstone, so about 1,100 gold or so, and then he'll have that big item pickup, a huge teamfight item as well. More minus armor to deal with this Morphling who's already stuck in Strug City. It's a rough time for Morphling. As I mentioned, there's a reason you don't draft Morphling against Shadow Demon Elder Titan. It is devastating. We haven't even really seen the setup yet. They haven't had to do it, but in that late game, it'll be if you can catch the Morphling without a waveform when there's an Elder Titan nearby for the natural order in a disruption, especially in that late game when the illusions hit hard, you'll see how ridiculous it is when Morphling is killing himself. But so far they haven't needed it. The Earth Splitter has been more than enough on top of the natural order and the setup with the arrow. They can just burst him down before he can morph strength. They simply have the damage to do it. So both sides just sitting back and farming for now. We still have not seen what Morphling is going for here with this next ultimate orb, whether it's going to be a Scotty, whether it's going to be a Manta. I reckon it'll be a Manta, not only a great item to tank up, but gives you a little more utility, a little bit of extra movement speed, lets you farm a bit more effectively as well. Lich will be working on a pipe, and has himself the Hood of Defiance. So not too far off the mark. Force Staff, Tranquil Boots, Lich actually finding okay farm this game. All the supports finding a little bit as towers have gone down. What's Mirana working on here? Still committed to the Diffusal Blade, but pretty damn close. More than halfway to the recipe now, and has the core items, the Double Alacrity and the Magi already picked up. Shadow Demon holding on to a gem of his own. They still didn't kill Lich in that last fight, or did they? No, Bristleback now going to be the one holding on to the gem. It was the one picked up by Lich. So a gem on both sides of the fence, and oh, Kashik. Uh-oh, he'll waveform forward. And he could be in trouble here. He does have a replicate available, so nope, he'll be able to hop to it. Small chance they'd be able to sunlock him down. If they could have coordinated the Echo Stomp, they would have been able to do it, but fat chance in hell. Fast Fingers hops to the replicate, and the elusive Morphling does survive to tell the tale. Still doing a good job staying active around the map, unfortunately pushing the lane that's already been pushed, but continually putting pressure on the base and finding some farm. Naga Siren with 4,300 gold in the bank, still holding on to that Aegis, and still has plenty of time on it as well. MiTH Trust may be looking to take a fight before the Aegis expires. Might not be a bad choice. Elder Titan will actually be looking for a pipe of his own, so we'll be pretty even on that front across the sides. Dragonite very close to having enough to grab his Assault Cuirass now, as he does have the Hyperstone and 1,800 gold. And Tidehunter will pick up his Refresher here at the 40-minute mark. So a pretty big disparity in the timing here compared to what we saw in the last game, but tied with Blink Force Staff Refresher at 40 minutes. Not the worst timing, but certainly not ideal timing either. BKB picked up by the Morphling. So BKB and now just a casual Ultimate Orb. I like the BKB choice here, but the casual Ultimate Orb is where I'm scratching my head. Perhaps wanted a Manta, but decides to change his mind and go with the safe choice here for a bit of magic immunity. And he certainly needs it. Even though it can be a double-edged sword against the Naga. Because, of course, you pop the BKB and you don't get caught by the sleep, but if you're the only one on your team with a BKB, as he is, it just turns it into a 5v1. And you might be immune to magic, but still a 5v1 is usually not the way you want to take a fight. And could still prove a little bit risky for the Morphling. So using that BKB is really the name of the game. Against the Naga Siren, it's not just a one and done, wham bam, thank you ma'am kind of a deal. Hearted Trath now picked up by the Naga. Everyone has their buybacks available in terms of timer, except that of the Tide, and he'll have it in less than a minute here. But Lakel's with a heart. This is scary. He now has 3,000 hit points up. Aegis will be reclaimed in just about a minute's time, and I don't know if this fight will break out before that time happens. It could actually happen during the fight, which is usually less than ideal. Sometimes that regeneration rune can help turn things around and give you the effect of a second life. Lakel's takes a shotgun in the bottom lane. Moonlight Shadow actually deployed. Maybe baiting it out, thinking that it's for Lakel's, but little does Invasion know. MiTH Trust on the high ground in the Radiant jungle, looking for the wraparound. Naga Siren does have BOTs available and will be able to TP into the mid should this fight break out, and yep, he'll do just that. They'll find Kashik, force out the BKB, and here you go, Song of the Siren. Here you go, he's completely isolated. They break out the Lincolns, Demonic Purge comes out, he's morphing strength, but they just click him down. He can't survive. That's the problem with the BKB against the Naga. Now the fight will break out. Rubik's second to fall. It's a 2-0 to get this fight started, and this is a bloody disaster for Invasion. Looking at the buybacks, Morphling doesn't have it. There's your first Ravage. Refresher hasn't been used quite yet. Ghost, he doesn't have the mana. There you go. That's your second Ravage, that's what it's called. It will be enough to bring down Lakel's, but is it enough to win the fight? Elder Titan with a big Echo Slam, and that'll be enough to finish off Lich. It's a 1 for 3, a lot of low heroes on Invasion. They'll get completely repelled. Now the Bristle falls, buyback from the Naga Siren. It's a 5v4, no, 5v1 on the field, 4 in the grave for Illusion. What am I saying? Invasion, but they don't have any buybacks except that of the Bristle. Tier 2 tower in the mid lane falls. They will go high ground here. Even if the Bristle buys back, what can he do? It's just a solo Bristle. You've got the big Frost Worm here, and this is rough stuff for the Dire side. No Ravage up for a while. Almost 2 minutes. Glyph comes out. Lakel's, where is he? He's sending an Illusion down to the bottom lane, but he's right back in the mix. Chipping at this tier 3 tower. Bristleback will opt to buy back here. Yes, he sure will. Song of the Siren, ready to rock and roll. Set up, arrow, onto Snow. It's the front as well. Bristleback, that's a dieback. And it looks like MiTH Trust may be able to grab an easy 2-0 best of 3 here. They will secure the mid lane of Rax. 2 buybacks burn, no, just 1 buyback burned on the Dire. 2 in total, 1 on Lakel's, but it's a dieback for the Bristle, and that is costly. That is just costly. Oh, man. I hate to say I told you so, but BKB Morphling completely isolated. The Song of the Siren from Lakel's couldn't have been more perfect. You saw the Morphling. He was right here, maybe a little too aggressive. Pops his BKB right away. The rest of his team was up here. They're coming forward, trying to make it to their buddy, but they get caught in the Song. They're completely isolated. And sure, he has BKB, but you've got a tool to deal with that. Demonic Purge came out pretty much straight away. They threw out the Disruption. That broke the Lincolns, and they put out the Purge. Nowhere for him to go, and then click, 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 click. A few moments later, you've got yourself 1 dead Morphling, caught without buyback, in the hand in the cookie jar. Let's take a look at the gold graph, and oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. A huge swing of momentum, 12,000 gold, now down to about a 6,000 gold advantage for Invasion. They are still holding on to a lead, but they've lost all of their momentum. Naga Siren now taking over as the leading farmer. No, actually, still trailing by about 1,000 gold. I guess that buyback was rather costly, and Kashik didn't buy back himself, but still, the momentum is gone, and now Naga Siren is effectively just... I was going to say effectively 6-slotted, but she really isn't. Not even 6-slotted yet. Still plenty of room to go for Lakel's. Ghost, Moonlight Shadow, as well as a Dust used. Oh, they'll find Kashik. Here you go. Song of the Siren for the setup. Rest of the team on their way in. Earth Splitter, BKB's popped. Kashik, he might actually survive this one. Ravage coming in from the Tide. Does he have a Refresher? I can't click on him. Yeah, he sure does. There's the double Ravage. A lot of damage coming out on the MiTH Trust. Can they clean it up? That'll be a dead Dragonite as well as a dead Morphling. It's a 1 for 1. Naga still alive off to the side. Invasion in some trouble here as they are starting to retreat. Naki connects with an arrow. Lakel's coming forward here. He'll be able to finish off Ghost. They do lose their Mirana. Buyback from the Morphling as Invasion do take an okay team fight. But FZ steals the net. Lakel's gets completely isolated. Elder Titan finishes off the Rubik. And Invasion do come out successful in that fight. The double Ravage from the Tide. Huge right there. Buybacks burned. Let's see, it was just 1 on the Morphling. So it is a 4 for 3 trade. The buyback on the Morphling does make it a 1v3 on the field. Roche up in 30 seconds. There's your buyback from the Tide Hunter. So now it's a swing of momentum going the other way, but Tide buying back here, he will just basically stop the creeps in the mid from pushing forward. No Ravage, no Refresher available, but Naga Siren, no buyback up here, down for 80 seconds. And Invasion, could they get another lane of Rax right here? It looks like they may. There is a Glyph available, MiTH Trust.
Radiant's top barracks are under attack.
They won't even burn it. Uh-oh. Invasion with a retort. Now we have a series on our hands, folks. We're going to zoom way out here. And look at the positioning. Glyph still available. Top lane of barracks do fall. Naga's still down for another 60 seconds. BKB used by Kashik. They will use an Echo Stop. Maybe they can set up a kill onto the Bristleback. He does turn, and that will quell a lot of their damage output. Dragon Knight back on the field. He was forced to burn a buyback for this as well. Earth Splitter flying through. Will connect on the Lich. They can grab at least one kill. Just a Lich support, but they do stop the push. One lane of racks to 2. Invasion continue their lead. Still in pretty good shape. Naga Siren, not unkillable. And caught without buyback will cost MiTH Trust their lane of racks. So they do save the glyph. I don't think they could have saved their racks there, but use it at an ideal time to keep at least their mid lane of racks safe. So now looking like this game could get leveled out. Looking at the graph, swing of momentum going back the way of Invasion, but they still have a pretty long way to go before sealing the deal in this match. It didn't come for free. They burned a couple of buybacks here, and again, if Kashik gets caught now in this window of opportunity where it'll be about 3 minutes where he won't have a buyback and Naga will, where MiTH Trust can afford to be very aggressive, maybe even burn an aggressive buyback on the Naga. And if Kashik is stuck in the grave, nothing Invasion will be able to do about it. Roche is back up, and this is third Roche, so there is a cheese available to go with the Aegis, and it looks like that's what MiTH Trust have their sights set upon. They will rotate their way over, and nope, they won't go into the pit. A little bit risky here, though. MiTH Trust, I think they have the Roche advantage. Double Ravage is really scary in the Roche pit, but still, so is Song of the Siren. So it's sort of a wash. Both teams have a lot of potential to take a fight there. But we see Kashik being kind of irritating here in the base. He will just go for the tier 4, and he might be able to finish it off. Meanwhile, fight breaking out in the mid. First Ravage comes out, and that'll be your second Ravage as he does refresh. Morphling going for the tier 4s while this is going on. Chain Frost bouncing all around. Lakel's actually in trouble. He may fall right here. Pipe comes out. No, it might actually be Snow. Yep, Snow will be the first to go down. Morphling finishes off both the tier 4s. Kashik might just end the game. Oh no, MiTH Trust, what are you doing? They take heavy damage here. Yeah, they get a kill on the Bristle, but Morphling, if they don't kill the Morphling here, this is absolutely crippling. Tier 4's down. Mirana on the run. She has a gem. Moonlight Shadow will juke him out. Regeneration Rune picked up by the Tide. And now Creep's pushing in. They have no safety structures, no tier 4 towers. And even the Throne down to about half health. This is pretty disastrous. Bristleback does have a buyback available. And Naga Siren didn't die right there, so it could be worth for MiTH, but worse for MiTH. But, oh, they burned so much for that, and he had a replicate down. Oh, no. Kashik, he baits out a... Oh, God, that's rough. That is really rough. It's looking like a game 3 here, folks. MiTH are in big trouble. Morphling has been the hero of this series. First it was Lakel's in game 1, now it's Kashik in game 2. Kashik, and he is just... He's doing work. 4,000 gold up on him. If he wants a Manta, he can pick it up right now. If he wants the Scotty, still a little bit short, but still well on his way. Now MiTH Trust pressing forward, and they'll go into the Roche pit. MiTH Trust basically in Hail Mary mode at this point. They have no tier 3 standing in the mid. These two barracks standing between them and certain defeat. No tier 4s. They have no towers remaining whatsoever. They will keep a Naga Illusion in the bottom lane to keep the lanes pushed out. Third Roche may actually go their way as Invasion are completely turtled up in their base right now. And Roche falling reasonably quickly. Not a lot of minus armor, but Aegis goes the way of Naga. Cheese goes the way of DK. And now maybe MiTH can do it. They've got one team fight left in them. And with the Cheese and the Aegis, that could be what they need to tip the scales. Naga's at the point where really needs some evasion. And I think just selling the Storm of Endurance and getting even just a casual Talisman of Evasion is huge. But nope, Naga will go for the Diffusal. So opting for the more damage output focused build. And it is a good item on Naga, no doubt about it. The Illusions will grab the mana burn. It does propagate, so you can really cripple supports and utility heroes with that mana burn. Even Tide, if you put some illusions on him, he does not have a huge mana pool, and you might be able to stop him from being able to refresher and double ravage, as it does eat basically his entire mana pool. So there is some utility there, but the evasion is so huge. It propagates to the illusions as well and makes them ridiculously tanky. And you get to the point where you can't just right-click them down too easily. You have to commit a little bit more than that. And there are no Mjolnirs, not a huge amount of creep clear out for invasion. So I think that evasion, as it were, would be great for the Naga. Hard to Trask on the way for the Bristleback, and it is a Scotty coming out for the Morphling. So no Manta on him, but buyback status for the Morphling, he actually doesn't have it right now, nor does the Naga. Now that he has committed to the Diffusal Blade, did sell his drums. So both sides in kind of a risky situation right now, without buybacks on their core heroes, and perhaps both sides will just sit back and farm for now to get that safety net, as it were, back up to snuff. MiTH Trust just trying to push out their lanes for now, though. Regain a little bit of map control. They will group up as 5 in the Radiant jungle. Lakel's still continuing to farm with all of the Radiance illusions. A big push coming into the top lane, but they'll TP back, and they will be able to keep it safe for now. But unfortunately for MiTH Trust, they are at the behest of invasion. And if invasion don't opt to live up their name and don't want to invade into the base, then, well, not much MiTH Trust can do about it. With 2 lanes of racks down and no safety structures, they'll be forced to constantly move back to the base and repel the push. And even if they take a successful team fight, invasion can always just TP in to creeps that are pressuring into the base, and Morphling can drop this throne pretty damn fast, so they have to be extra careful to be sure if they take a fight outside of their base. They have BOTs or TP scrolls available to at least stop the Morphling from just going ham on top of the throne. So they're at this point where it's not just a successful team fight that they need, but a successful team fight and a Morphling without buyback, or just a backup plan in case someone does TP down and start backdooring their structures. Naki pops the Moonlight Shadow, will press forward. BOT's up on the Mirana, looking for a Scythe of Ice, it would assume here, or would appear with the Mystic Staff and a Diffusal Blade. Deploying a Gem of True Sight, and looking for initiation, but just a Replicate. And maybe this is a big opportunity, though. No Replicate down for the Morphling as they do kill it. That is 30 seconds that the Morphling can't make it back to the base. Maybe they'll commit to something here. They go to the mid lane where racks have already been killed. Song of the Siren deployed. Again, there is no Morphling here. They'll go on to Snow. Arrow connects. Earthsplitter used as well. Hex, and they will bring down the Bristleback. That's an instant buyback on the Bristle. Now the rest of the fight will break out. MiTH Trust may want to back out without the Song of the Siren. First Ravage comes through. Ghost gets off the second Ravage. A lot of damage on a MiTH Trust. Now Kashik pops the BKB, going ham. Mirana first to fall. Gem on the ground. They'll be able to finish off the Dragon Knight. A huge Chain Frost bouncing around, and Lakel's comes back up. He's back to life, but has no Song of the Siren. This is game, I think. No buyback on the Naga. And yeah, invasion will just push for the win. Creeps coming in. BOT's down, and MiTH Trust can't seal the deal. It will be a game 3 here, folks. Morphling, the hero of the series. And invasion, they hold. Buyback from the Dragon Knight. This will be their final hold. Morphling, whoa, he gets dropped. He does have a buyback, though. That's the difference here. Down for 110 seconds. Naga down for 60, still without a buyback. 200 gold short. I still think this is going to be GG, but it will take a little bit longer than perhaps invasion had imagined. Still a very solid draft for MiTH. We saw a couple times why you don't want to pick a Morphling into an Elder Titan. The Morphling got dropped so many times in this game, but they were able to do too much damage. MiTH Trust gave them a bit too much space, and Lakel's unfortunately wasn't able to hit critical mass fast enough. And will they actually hold this off? Could this not be the GG? MiTH Trust, maybe they'll have another fight in them. I'm a little bit surprised here. They will no longer have the Cheese or the Aegis, but Morphling down for 70 seconds. Maybe they could force a buyback. Still up against the ropes. I really thought that was going to be a game-ending push, so alright. MiTH Trust surprising me here. The power of the Dragon Knight next to the Elder Titan. Okay, they're in it to win it. Naga up in 10 seconds. Doesn't have to burn the buyback. And we'll still have some gold left over. 1,600. So MiTH Trust, they'll do it. I think MiTH Trust could use some more BKBs here. They've only got 1 BKB on the Dragon Knight. Elder Titan, looks like he'll be going for a Shiva's here with that plate mail, but I think a BKB would do him well. Just because this double Ravage has been crippling. Ever since the Tide was able to pick up that refresher, we've seen double Ravage in every team fight, and I think all of them have been on at least 3+ Ravages. That last fight was 3 at first, and then 4 to follow up. And it's just crippling. Even at this point, when the Ravage damage isn't that ridiculous, it's still 900 magic damage. And almost now 5 seconds, over 5 seconds of disable on 4 heroes is just ridiculous. It's enough to give Evasion what they need to take these team fights. And they just can't do it. Even Naga, normally not a hero that gets a BKB, but might actually need one this game. The Ravage is really what's doing it for Invasion. But here we go. MiTH Trust. This could be their final fight if they do commit to something in the mid lane. They've got the Naga down bottom, pressuring the tier 2 tower, and Kashik up in the top lane, just pushing creeps in, farming up gold, and has more than enough for buyback. So looking at the buyback status here, what's on cooldown? Bristle and Dragonite, the only 2 heroes with it on buyback. Arrow flies through, will connect onto the Morphling. They won't be able to stun him out. Yeah, the Dragon Tail will connect, but he does have a Replicate down, and he'll just hop to it. This Morphling just a little too elusive, and they can't bring him down this time. I don't think the Morphling will get caught off like that without a Replicate down, so... Well, maybe ambitious to hope they'd find a kill here, but you can't blame MiTH for going for it, for trying it out, and doing a little bit of chip damage. Shivas is now up on the Elder Titan. He's had that pipe for some while, and Mirana nowhere close to the Sheep Stick, but I think that's where she's headed with this Mystic Staff. Now Kashik has himself Helm of the Dominator, so has some sustain and a little bit of extra plus armor. We talked about how good that is against the Elder Titan. Arrow flies through, just barely misses the Morphling. He'll just turn and drop the Mirana, but not out of the clear quite yet. Mama tries to grab him with the disruption, but BKB gets popped, gets off the defensive disruption here. And do they want to commit to this fight? It's kind of disastrous for MiTH Trust. They've already lost their 2 supports. As Mama just about to fall, he will get clicked down by the Lich, and they are forced to retreat. They'll head back to the base, and just a disastrous way for this fight to start. Kashik now forces out the Song of the Siren. Earth Splitter, they'll actually try and fight this. Can they bring him down? Naga will click him down. Morphling almost falls, but it's not enough. Now there's your first Ravage. The second Ravage, Lakel's to fall. He'll go down. Down goes the Elder Titan as well. Instant buyback from the Naga, but just disastrous for MiTH Trust. Not the fight they were looking for, and Kashik barely survives by the skin of his teeth. If they had any other follow-up damage there, Mirana clicking him down, Dragonite, anything, I think they could have brought him down, but unfortunately they just don't have the damage. Now Naga, no Song of the Siren. Another buyback coming out for the Radiant side. It is on the Shadow Demon. But Lane of Racks are fair game. No glyph for 20 seconds here. Again, Kashik taking pretty heavy damage. No Ravages here. Maybe they can hold this Dragonite. Nope. Shadow Demon. It will be a dieback for him. And the Frost Swarm actually doing some pretty serious work here. Double kill coming out for the Shadow Demon on the Lich as well as the Rubik. The supports get cleaned up. Ghost makes it to the high ground. Naga will chase him down. Moonlight Shadow deployed. Just TPing back as the Throne actually getting killed by creeps. Oh, God. MiTH Trust hang in there for now, but they just can't do it. The base getting destroyed now. I don't know. They're hanging in there, but very quickly running out of options. They didn't burn the glyph, so their barracks are still standing, but look at the Throne. It's down to 20% HP. Oh, my Lanta. Kashik's still alive. They didn't force the buyback out of him, so this Morphling has 5,000 gold. He's going to have a Satanic before too long, and he'll still have gold for buyback. All the big heroes on Radiant, Naga, as well as the DK, have no buyback available. I guess DK will have his here momentarily. He's 33 gold short. Arrow flies through the Roche pit. Naga Illusion scouting it out, recognizing Roche could be back up, but wow, it's a long Roche respawn. I guess good news for MiTH. I'm not sure which team that's good for, but turning into kind of an odd game. MiTH Trust hanging in there. The scary thing is that they could still win this. If Invasion do make a huge misstep, if they get completely wiped up, if somehow this Morphling dies, buys back, and dies again, MiTH Trust can win this. We're at that point in the game where structures die so quickly that one big misstep from Invasion could cost them the game, and could this be it? Snow in the mid, the target of choice perhaps, Song of the Siren utilized, and not the ideal setup. They'll be forced to Moonlight Shadow. They don't find a kill out of it. And, ooh, even the Earth Splitter burned as well. That's a big cooldown, and they get absolutely nothing. Everyone on Evasion, still at basically full hit points. That was rather disastrous. Roche coming up any second now. And not a good time to not have a Song of the Siren. And they know it too. They can do that and say, wait a second. Song's down for at least another 20 seconds. Roche is free game. And now how do you contest this? Oh no! MiTH Trust! They throw an arrow across the river.
An easy shot.
Roche falling pretty quickly, down below half health. Song of the Siren up in 5. They may just have to Zerg the pit if they want to contest this. Roche to fall, they'll go in, it goes down to the Dire. Age is picked up by the Bristleback. Now the Chain Frost deployed, Lakelz will have his ultimate coming up. Elder Titan does find a kill onto the Rubik, he buys back right away. There's your Song of the Siren flying through, they find a kill onto the Lich. Maybe they can bring down this Morphling here, they are trying to light it up. Song of the Siren cancel, first Ravage comes out. Ravage number 2, there it is. Now MiTH Trust will get cleaned up. First to fall will be the Elder Titan, now Lakelz, he's on the run. No mana left on him, telekinesis, and he will go down. Stolen Song of the Siren. Naki as well as Mama in some trouble. I think they'll get dropped as soon as this song is done. They Delta split, but it doesn't matter. Mirana gets destroyed, down goes the Rubik, and Creeps are actually about to win this game. Dragon Knight lives. Does he fight his way into a buyback? No, he still has a buyback, but GG are called as Keshik comes in to follow off, finish off the throne, have a little dance party there.
Is under attack.
Oh, Morphling, you cheeky dog. GG, well played. We're going into an ace match. This is the winner bracket finals here of the Good Play SCA Invitational. I am Zyori, slated to solo cast for now. Thank you for joining us now that the DK Newbie series is done. We appreciate y'all coming over to BTS2. And Invasion versus MiTH is going into a Game 3. MiTH looked good in Game 1. The Lakelz Morphling was too much for him to handle, and his Naga Siren just doesn't deliver here in Game 2. As the Kashik Morphling, doing some serious work, finds early momentum in the game, never lets go of it, and MiTH Trust just can't find the opening that they're looking for. We'll see if Evasion can seal the deal with a reverse all-kill here in this short best of 3 after this short break. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll be back for the conclusion of this series.